Here we go with the library module, part two. Uh, what we're going to be looking at is we can actually do things with these folders from here within Lightroom. So what I'm going to do is, well, I'm going to create a new folder inside Image Vault here in Lightroom instead of in the Finder. I can do it a couple of ways. One way is I can come here to the folder itself, header. And off to the right is a plus sign. If I click there, I can tell Photoshop, click on Add Subfolder. So when I do that, it asks me what's the name, and I'm just going to name it New Folder. And if you would, watch over here in the Finder window, what happens when I click on Create. Oh, if I had well, I do have one image highlighted, so if I check this box to include selected photos, then I could go ahead and move that photo into this folder if I wanted to. So I'm going to show you that it does do that. I'm going to click on Create, and if you notice, it now has new folder, and it has the one image in here. So we can make a new folder just that easily if we wanted to. Because sometimes what I'll do is if I have a couple of images that I want, I can create a new folder out of these and have a better organization for some reason. So what I did was clicked once and then command clicked on it, and it'll collect or select out of sequence. If I click once and hold the shift key, then it will select all in that sequence that are in between there, so we can select images just that easily. Here in HDR, if I just come into here, you can see I have three images here, but let's do it this way. I'm going to get rid of this new folder, but what I want to do first is I want to move this back into the folder that it belongs to. So if I come into the image area, not the frame, but the image area, click, hold, drag, I can move this to any folder that I want to. It says moving file on disk. We saw this in the library module 1, and I'm going to tell Lightroom to move. Now this folder is empty. I can get rid of this folder just by right-clicking and click on remove. So it's that easy to add and delete folders, move images here inside Lightroom, and Lightroom will write in the database its location so it's not breaking or the link between where the image originally was and where it is now, like I showed you in Module 1 or in Library Module 1. So this way everything organizationally is being done within Lightroom. If I right click on Image Vault, I can also create a new folder inside Image Vault, so it's a new subset folder, and so we have lots of things in here. Um, if I right click on the image, I can ask Lightroom to show me in the Finder, so that way I don't have to go looking for it. I have multiple selections and things that I could do within this library mode just by right clicking on it. If I wanted to create a collection like of these three images all in the interior of a church, I can actually come in and create a collection. I'm going to click on the plus sign and I'm going to say create collection. Name it church. I'm going to include the photos here as well, and now I can click on create. Looking down here, whoops, you can see the word church. Now it does not create a folder. This is a collection. The images are the folders, or the folders hold the images up here under folders. A collection is a way of isolating a selected group of images that you really want to work on. And you can do any of that you'd like. Um, and then to let you also know, if I go into the develop module, the folders go away, so I don't have access to those folders, but I do have access to collections in all modules that I may want to have. So a collection is very handy to isolate images for working on in any module. Here in the, oh, I tap the letter E to come back to loop view inside library. If you can see, the church collection is still highlighted, so that's why you're only seeing 3 images. If I come up and click on my vault under folders, then I can see all of them. If I type the letter G, then I have grid view, and we're looking back at that. Now, I'm going to make the thumbnails a little smaller, because one thing I'm able to do is there's something called smart collections. And so if I have rated any of these, um, let's see, if I right click on them, I can come in and I can add a rating of a number of stars. I can say I can flag it, or I can add a color. So this way, if I have a red, if I add a red to this image, what it does, did I not have the image in here? Let's see. Right here is where it shows the red indication. It also, and if you can see, I also have a red here and a red here. So I have 2 that are uh, rated with a color. If I come down to Smart Collections, there's one that's already pre-made in Lightroom called Colored Red. So as you add a color, the color red, to an image, this Smart Collection automatically moves the image into this collection. So it's smart in that it looks for how it's been determined. Here's a 5-star, so if I had any 5 stars, it would show up here. Here's some recently modified. There's 15 of them. And down here, there's 22 images without keywords, which we're going to get to here shortly. So these collections are smart in that they will look for particular things. If I come in and I right click, if I double click on it, sorry, then what I can do is I can change this. What I tend to do is I flag mine. And so any images that I want to continue working on, I can do just that. So I can set a pick flag. So I'm changing the default from red to flag and plus 1 star. So what I can do now is I'm going to come over to the plus sign, rating, um, greater than is 1 star. So now I have a rating, I have a pick flag, a rating that is 1 star. So by clicking on the plus or minus over here on the right side, I can change all that. I can change the name as well. So if I go to save, the 2 that I flagged or colored red are now gone. And so I'm going to come back up to image vault. So, so even though it's red, it doesn't go into a smart collection because it's not that smart anymore. So, but and if you notice I'm clicking, there's stars right down here. I can also tap the letter 1 or 2 or 3, 4, 5, and that gives me all the different star values. And if I tap the 0, it goes to none. So if I tap 1, it's the same thing as clicking down here. If I tap the letter P, then it's flagged. And so if I tap the letter U, it's unflagged. So now, if I come down to my newly changed Smart Collection, here's the only image that is both flagged and starred 1. So it's that easily done. You can come to the plus sign up here where it says collection. That's on the title. And we can create a new Smart Collection and so forth and so on. Okay. You also need to know that This folder is how you synchronize to the web. Uh, and so that way you can start working in classic CC and on your phone. But we'll get to that in another tutorial. It all works from a collection. Okay, so with folders, moving images, adding folders, deleting folders, same thing with collections. We can come back in and right click and we can delete the collection called church and it is gone. Okay, coming back to our image vault, what we're going to do now is we're going to come over here. With any of the images, we can come in and under metadata. And what I have here is I want to see all metadata coming in. So XF and IPTC is highlighted here. Well, you probably just have default, so you see a limited amount of information. You do see copyright. Okay, so the important things are here on a typical sense. So what we're also able to do, look at there, my batteries are low in my mouse. Thank you for showing up in my tutorial. So if I come and click under file name, I can highlight this and just change it. And whatever image is highlighted, that's what it's changing. Okay, so it's that easily. And it also shows me the folder where it is located. It also has metadata status has been changed. That means I haven't saved it. And so that's one thing that you want to do is get in the habit of saving your metadata. I'm going to click on save and then it says up to date. And we're looking at that. Now this particular image is a DNG file. Digital negative is what DNG stands for. This one, sorry, this image is a CR2. So that means that is a raw file from the camera. DNG, I changed it because the digital negative typically is a better format because Adobe will always support a DNG file. Your camera manufacturer may at some point stop supporting a CR2 in their software if you like it. So I tend to recommend to go to a DNG formatting. It's also slightly smaller, so it saves on space. So how we do this is we go to I think it's library. Yes. So with the image highlighted, and I can do multiple selections. So here's 3 that are not DNGs. These are .cr2s. So with those highlighted, if I come to library, I can come down to convert photos to DNG. And convert only raw files. You can convert a JPEG, but it really doesn't make sense. It's not a raw file. For me, I delete the originals after I convert. There's no point in my mind to keep the original if I have the DNG. It's the same. The image does not change. It keeps everything just fine. I do want to embed fast load data, and I don't want to compress it, so I do not check lossy compression, and I do not embed the original. If you use Canon, Nikon, whatever manufacturers post-processing software instead of Lightroom, then you may want to embed. You can unencapsulate the image. A DNG file makes it real easy to when you're saving images as well, because all the metadata is saved into the DNG file itself. And I'll show you in a second, if I save a camera raw file instead of a DNG, then it creates an extra file that I have to keep with it all the time because that's where the development settings are, if I've used a brush or if I've used the gradient tool, etc., etc. All the keywords are located in that additional file. So again, for me, the DNG is a simpler format to manage. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's not do it just yet, because what I want to do is open these up. I don't have any interior ones. And let's see, I want to find these. So we have the, the name of this one, come on, there we go, is Fill Light. So it's right here, Fill Light. I'll just do that one. So while it's kind of grayed, highlight there. If I go to Library, Convert Photos to DNG, Delete, and I'm going to click on OK. Now what has happened is, if you were watching, it, it created the DNG file and it deleted the .cr2 file. So it does it that seamlessly. If I come in here to this one, and this is images originally outside of folder, because where I'm looking is right over here, where's the folder that this one's located. So originally outside, and here's 8082. So if I come in and save this, keep your eyes over here in the Finder. So I'm just going to go Command S, which is under metadata, save metadata to file. That's where it's located, not under file. So when it does, it now creates this XMP file. That's that extra file that I was telling you about. That's where all the metadata is saved. So if the XMP, it's called a sidecar file, and the .cr2 are separated, then all this work that I may have done is lost. It won't recognize it if these two don't remain in the same folder all the time. Whereas with the DNG, I just have the one file that has all the metadata incorporated. I don't have to worry about that XMP and remember that. So if you're new to this, you may want to go to DNG. All right, so that's on saving. And how to save, that's also organization. If we come right up here, there's a way to sort. So I'm going to click on Attribute. If I click on the flag, I can find everything that I have flagged. Or if I have, I'm going to click on None and go back to Attribute. If I have anything with a 1 star, it will show me 1 star. If I have anything with a red, now you have to uncheck these in order for it to show. So here are the two that I originally had come back in. So I can sort by attribute, meaning color, stars, etc., etc. I'm going to click on None again. If I click on metadata, it actually searches by date. So you don't need to put date into your keywords. It's already being done for you. It's called XF metadata from your camera. Your camera actually creates this. Lightroom reads it. So I can look at all the images that my 5D Mark II took. My iPhone 7 Plus took these three. Here's the next 3 image from a Sony camera. So I can sort by camera type. I can also sort by lens. So it has a lot of different ways of doing it. And if I come in, I can actually tell it how I want to sort. So if I can sort by location, city, map location, etc., etc., etc. So there's a lot of different ways that I can sort and find images. That's why it's so important to to have metadata in here. I can sort by text as well. So I can come in, I'm going to turn off metadata and just have text. If I type in the word fill, then this one has somewhere in its name is where it really is. It's called fill light. I can sort by that. And so I can do all of this sorting, but it's up to you to place it. So if I come in and I highlight these 3, and under keywords over here, I can type in church. I can type in interior, gold. This is a panoramic, so I can type in pano. Where was this? I think this is San Jose, of course, California. So I can type in all of these things and I can search by them. And I can do the same thing as this one. This is Santa Fe, Native American. Um, it's actually on Eanes Ranch. It's a movie ranch there. So I can do every single one of these because this is Twilight. It's Park City, Utah, or outside Park City, Utah. I think it's Valley of the Gods or something like that. No, that's not right, but it has to do with the Native American. Here's one in Portland. So all of these, here's Austin, Texas, here's Bastrop, Texas, here's Death Valley, Mazatlan as well. So Florida, Hudson, Florida. So wherever or wherever you took the image, you could have it as a keyword. Also, the colors that are in there, if it has foliage, if mom's place, whatever you want to do. This is Bobby, so I could have, type in Bobby and so forth. But it makes it all searchable. And when you have thousands and thousands and thousands of images that you're trying to search through, it makes it just 100,000% to use that, overuse the word thousand to locate your images. So that's the importance of keywords. Um, Metadata, you can have captions in here if you like. You can give it a title that's all searchable. We talked about copyright already in the first module. In Quick Develop, we can actually come in and there's arrowheads that open and close to minimize these three different sets. So it's a saved preset if we have one. Uh, we, we haven't gone into that yet, so we'll do that in the develop module. We can change our white balance and we can go daylight, cloudy. Which images do I have highlighted? Okay, on Bobby. So I can change it if it was on a shady day. Let's go to loop view for Bobby. He's a little blown out. If I had shot it under tungsten, it would add a blue cyan color to it. Under fluorescent, it would kind of add a little more magenta to the blue cyan. And so there's a lot of ways to change white balance. We can change the temperature over here. If we wanted to, we could also change the exposure. And there's two amounts. There's a double-headed arrow, which changes a big jump, one full stop, and the one arrow just changes a third of a stop. And that's true with all these sliders. So you can quickly add some changes in here, just coming in with it. And and the difference between here and the develop module is that these are very rough. If you just wanted to get an idea, that's fine. Because if I come to the develop module here with Bobby, you can see that on exposure, I have a plus 34 because I was just clicking all around with them. In the highlights, it's plus 5. I clicked on blacks, minus 5. So it shows you the changes over here. But here in the develop module, just to show you the difference, we have a slider. So we can do incrementally, more precise changes. And so we can do it, here. This is my preference, quite honestly, rather than in a quick develop. But if you really don't want to spend time in the develop module, it's fine to do it here. It's very quick and easy, and you can quickly add in something. And if you're a wedding photographer, it's a great way to edit wedding photographs because you can grab them all and do custom. Uh, uh, or do multiple images all at one time. If we come down into this section, we can actually rotate the image. Not that I want to. We also have a way of comparing two different images, so we can go back and forth. between them, and I'm just clicking down here in this area. If I go click on the grid view, it goes back to grid view. This is loop view mode, so you don't have to necessarily remember the keyboard shortcuts, etc. I can do multiple images if I had them selected. So that way it's called survey mode. And so I can, look at different ones and decide which ones I want to keep and so forth, and organize and click on them and take them out. And so here within uh, the library, one more thing up in this area where the navigator is on the title bar, I can zoom in 1:1 if I wanted to, and then I can click and drag around the image. And you can, and all I'm doing is clicking and dragging, coming back with that. Okay. If I tap the space bar, it'll come back to fit. If I go to fill, then it fills the entire frame with no white border. Okay, so fill is different than fit. Fit means I can see all the way around, and I can have that white border if I wish, just like I was saying. Um, I can go and zoom in different amounts if I wish. So that's 1:3. Here's 3:1. So it really zooms in tight, a little bit more than I want to see it, Bobby. So there's 1:1 and fit. 1:1, remember, for future this is where we check our sharpening levels, our focus, noise reduction if we have any. We always do it at a 1:1, and I also will use my brushes at 1:1 or zoomed in at least a little bit and come back. So spacebar will remember my last zoomed in setting, or two settings. So this is fit and 1:1. So that's the most common. So I use the spacebar really a lot. And if you just click on an image, it will also be the same thing as a spacebar. Coming back with that. And if you were interested, we can close these panels. If you need to see the image larger and you really don't need the left side, if you come right here, there's a little arrow and it'll hide that panel. If I click on the arrow again, it'll reveal it. So that way I could increase my space, and you can see the image does get a little bit bigger. Not much, but a little bigger. And so I can do it that way, and all four panels has it. So I'm clicking on the top, so it'll hide and reveal. If it's hiding, if I come back, see, it doesn't show unless I click on it. But I can right click on it and, whoops, just on the right, I can do auto hide and show. I can do it this way. So now it's off, but when I come over and touch it, then it pops out. When I come off and over into the image, it hides. So you could do an auto hide and show. Um, I'll put it back to manual because that's where it's set. If I tap the tab key, it hides both left and right. Then tapping the tab key again, it reveals. If I hold down the shift key and then tap the tab key, it hides all four. So now I can really see a much larger image. Then I can also come in to dim the lights, so to speak. So Shift Command L is where we are. Then if I tap the letter L, it will scroll through the different uh, dim modes that we have. So Shift Command L as well. So I'm now to lights on, Shift Tab to turn back on all the tabs. And where I was I came into window and lights out is where that is, where you can see it. Um, let's see if there's anything else. Remember always the pull down menus. Here's some zooming. Coming back with this, we can change the grid size by a keyboard if you wish. The equal sign and the minus sign to equal to increase, the minus sign to decrease. Metadata, you can save, you can do a lot of different things coming back in here. And so we will be moving on to this. For one last thing, we can export an image. right down here, if I click on the word export or tab, then we're able to export it. And we're going to get into export in another module. So that is the second part of the library module. And I hope you're feeling more comfortable getting started in Lightroom.